Happy Labor Day, everybody, and welcome to the Town Crier in McAllen. This is the first shot out of the box for our new preview and review show here. It's exciting. I'm Greg Selber. This is Pete Perez. You know, everybody's doing video now. Everybody's doing preview and review shows, so we want to get our act in the mix and see how we can do. Here's how it's going to work. We're going to get together after the ball games every weekend, and we're going to go over some of the things that happened. Both he and I will be at ball games, taking pictures, covering stories for the Edinburgh Review and Town Crier, and then we'll come in here, and we'd like to make it not necessarily informal. We're not going to come in our swimsuits, but I mean, we're going to make it fun. This is not ESPN, and yet at the same time, I think the most important thing is, and we were talking about this earlier, the important thing is to give the fans that read our papers and look at our websites a little bit something extra that maybe they didn't get from some of the other media products. So let's see how it works. Pete, you're going to start us off talking about some ball games. We've got some coming up between Edinburgh and McAllen, don't we? We've got some battles.
We do, but let's talk about first what happened this past week. Mac High and Laredo United South, you were there.
I was at the game.
It was 38-17 Mac High.
Mm-hmm.
How did they turn up? They're going to be playing a Edinburgh Bobcat team next.
Mm-hmm.
And so what's going to be some of the keys that they have to face for that next game?
Well, McAllen kind of started slowly. The South was hanging in there with them, but they got it together in the second half and won, like you said, 38-17. They've got some sophomore guys at the skill positions. Luckily, they've got a big senior offensive line. So McAllen is a formidable team. Now, defensively, they're a lot smaller than their offensive line. But they ran and they hit. I was impressed. I think they held South to something like 60 or 70 yards in the second half. So against Edinburgh High, traditionally a team that plays power football, you're going to see a lot of hitting on the field. You're going to see a lot of trench warfare.
Now the big question for Edinburgh High, who's going to be under center?
Well, they got three guys who could do it. Alex Cantu started. He was the one that hurt his knee last year halfway through. Michael Harrison played. He was 5 out of 13. Kid Raymond Enriquez made a couple of nice throws. I think that with one non-district game left, and remember, it comes fast now. There's not 3 like there used to be. There's 2. They're going to figure out this week, I think, who has the reins of the club. My gut feeling is that they like Michael Harrison. He's a big kid. He's a junior baseball player. But that doesn't mean that Raymond or Alex couldn't do the job. See, that's a good problem to have now because you got 3 guys who can play. Sooner or later, you got to winnow and you got to narrow it down. So we're going to see this week what the rotation is and who plays how much.
This week, McAllen Memorial will face off against Edinburgh Economedes in a matchup there at Cat Stadium. For the Mustangs, Greg, what is going to be the key playing against them, and how are the Economedes defense going to hold up against Memorial's new running back?
Well, I'll tell you what, last week they gave very little to Porter. Economedes won 50-12. They look real good from what I understand down there at Sam's. It's going to be a different animal when Memorial comes calling because they do have Trevor Spates, who's a great running back. That freshman had 156 yards. He went 73 yards on the second play of the game. Just stunned everybody over in McAllen. It's going to be a tougher muster. I always thought in my mind during the spring that Economedes was going to have a better defense, and it appears so far out of the box that they do. Now, the key is going to be the size of the Memorial line because like McAllen, they got a huge line, so there's some big kids. It's a tough test for Economedes. And for Memorial, they're a little wary. I talked to them after the game last weekend. They're a little wary about the Jags because they know that they've got some firepower. 50 points, 401 total yards. I expect it to be an exciting game.
On Friday, Rowe, they faced off against Harlingen South, and unfortunately they lost 24-16. But the highlight there was their defense. They had a goal line stand at the 1-yard line, and their quarterback, Javi Obregon, he was able to march down the field and got all the way down there, and they were about to score, but penalties held them. Yeah. It was 4th and goal at the 16-yard line.
It's tough.
And that's a turnover right there. But next they face Brownsville Pace on the road. Short week, Thursday night game, and they need to win that game.
Well, I was encouraged by the fact that their defense played so well. We know Rowe can score. They've always had a good offense. But making that stand and holding South to 24 points, that bodes well for the future. Pace is struggling. And they got beat by PSJ Southwest pretty bad their first game. They lost everybody from last year. This is a good opportunity for Rowe to finish non-district with a win. I believe that they do so.
Great. Edinburgh North, they were in Rio Grande City on Thursday. They had a great win, 42-14.
It's a lot of points.
That's a lot of points. Their D only allowed 70 yards on off.
That's incredible. That's great. That's what they've been looking for. North, the key was, will the defense play well?
They
did.
They had 3 rushing touchdowns from Agent Alvarez. But they did have 5 turnovers.
Yeah, and you know what? You can have a lot of yards between the 20s, but if you turn it over when it counts, that's going to hurt you. I watched that game, the replay, and I think they got it together, especially in the second half. It looked like they were faster and they were tougher and they hit harder than Rio, which is a little surprising because that was a playoff team last year. Definitely a good start for Edinburgh North.
The new cat in town, Vela Sabercats, they didn't get a win, but there was positive sides, I'm sure, to the game.
Yeah, and the positive side was that there was a huge crowd and everybody was excited. They let the balloons loose. The Vela family was there. I mean, they did all the right things. I think in time they're going to be very competitive. Right now, I think they just have to be patient and get better every week. And I think they realize now, because PSJ beat them 38-7, I think they realize now that, hey, you know, they're in it. They're there. They got to establish themselves and let the rest of it take care of itself. Now, this weekend, who do they have? Who does Vela play?
They play PSJ Southwest, battle between two new
okay.
schools.
Yeah.
See who gets the bragging rights there.
Now, PSJ Southwest had a kid, Villarreal, Jesse, who had 168 yards. They had a lot of offense against pace. The Vela defense, I like Ruben Reyes as a linebacker in the middle. That guy is very active. I'm worried about this guy, Quemo, Genaro Cavazos. He was a running back. He had 82 yards, but he went out of the game for Vela with a hamstring, so he's a good runner. I definitely like to see that kid back this week, and I haven't heard yet whether he is going to be so or not. Now, who does Edinburgh North play? We kind of went over that game. We talked about it last week. Did they play Rivetta, right?
Yes,
they're in Sam Stadium and play Rivetta. Rivetta lost their first game. This is a good chance for the Cougs to start 2-0.
You think they do it?
Yeah, I think they do.
Yeah?
I think they do. Rivetta, I think the coaching change they had over there, they haven't gotten used to Chavez yet, to Tom Chavez. They've got some explosive players, but that good back, Jaquiel Evans, did not play. Alfaro played in his place, and I have yet to figure out what was wrong with Evans, but he's a 1,200-yard back. So it'd be nice if he didn't play for one more week and the North can get in the district play.
That'd be nice. On the other note, for Vela, they did have their first touchdown of the school, and it came on defense, which sounds like a lot of fun.
An amazing play. I mean, the ball hit off the PSJ quarterback's face mask and helmet and everything, went up in the air, and Michael De Hoyos, who was this big, strong cat, jumped up, grabbed it at the 13, and choom! You should have heard the fans going crazy. It was a huge crowd at Cat Stadium. It was very fun. Like I said, Vela just has to be patient because Rome wasn't built in a day. The 1976 Tampa Bay Buccaneers went 0-14, if you remember, 4 years later than the NFC Championship game. So it can happen, and I believe it will happen based on the zoning, based on the coaching staff they have. They just got to weather this first season and find as many positives as possible. So the only other thing that we talk about today a little bit is Sharyland won big, 41-7 over Hannah. Mission 21-19 over Palmview, and Mission's got Hannah this week. Strangely enough, they're going to switcheroo on the opponents. I've seen Mission scrimmage twice, and they look tough, man. Down in that 4A district, I think they have a shot to win that district. I'm not saying they're gonna, but they're definitely going to be heard from. That's a nasty team.
That's good.
So, Pete, this is what we're going to do every week. We're going to get used to it, and we're going to have fun. Hopefully, we'll be able to get people interested. So, if you're watching this, please let people know that this is what we're going to do. We'll probably put a note on the website in a couple of days to let you know what the particular time and everything will be. But since it is the web, the magic is we can go as long as we want, and we can put it up whenever we want. But we're going to try to be consistent because we like to get a loyal followership. I think I made up a word, but that's all right. Bottom line is thank you, Greg Selber, Pete Perez, Edinburgh Review, Town Crier, Valley High School football, 0 weeks in the past. Week 1 is to come, and we'll be back here next week talking about Week 1 and Week 2. Thanks a lot.